I was already drinking a lot because she drank, and that was something we did together, but at this point, I started drinking more. Yeah, that'll fix it.
To alcohol, the cause of and solution to all of life's problems.
Hello, friends. Trace amounts of science. We got another hateable OP coming in here today. I think that's what the people are really looking for. So I went out there and I found a real specimen. It is from r/confessions via r/AmITheDevil. I don't know what I'll title it, but it's fine. What we're really all here for is to see scumbags be scumbags, so let's jump into the thing. Thanks for being here today, by the way. I, 34 male, dated, with quotes around it, an employee of mine, 19 female, and got far more than I bargained for. Yeah, that age gap's a hell of a thing, isn't it? So many dudes out here like, I don't understand why you'd go for older chicks and stuff like that. It's like, younger girls are annoying, dude. That's really what it's about. I want to be able to hang out with you for an extended period, and we just have nothing to connect on. Anyway, the year is 2019. OP had just left his executive chef position at a hotel and started a general manager position at a small town restaurant. At some point, I hired her as a server. She's 19, vibrant, energetic, beautiful, and a bit flirty, especially with me. We maintain a casual, flirty friendship for some time, and then one day, she invites me to go fishing with her on the weekend. I love fishing, and I secretly adored her. I couldn't resist. You could have resisted if you were thinking with the big head instead of the little one, but I don't know, if you're a single guy, go find out, you know? You might regret it, but it might work out great, but probably you will regret it. We had a nice date out on the river fishing. We didn't catch much, but we drank some beers and had a good time. Later that evening, I took her to a Mexican restaurant and we had margaritas and tacos. Afterward, I took her back to my work, which was directly across the street from where we were eating. I didn't want to go far because we'd been drinking. How responsible. And then we fucked right in my office. How irresponsible.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
Yeah, I'm probably not going to sign off on that. First date? Wow. Just a couple of troubled individuals making smush. And then OP makes it even weirder and says, I had the CCTV footage for the longest time, but at some point she got a hold of my phone and deleted it, so that kind of sucked. I mean, it was just for your own personal use. It's still weird. It's still weird. Like if she had agreed to it or it was her idea, hey, let's do something crazy and film it, then I'd be like, all right, consenting adults, you do what you do. But for, like, the CCTVs to happen to catch it, you probably didn't even tell her that you had the video, did you? Did you? You are one weird fucking guy. What is it about restaurants, you know? The cooks are crazy, but, like, at least I can kind of vibe with them. And then there's always a manager that's dating, like, a server that's almost too young. It's just one of those things. Those restaurant things. The restaurant people know. I only truly know because I watched a Ryan Reynolds film called Waiting.
Just so you know, I'm only a minor for another week. I turn 18 on Wednesday.
Well, then I guess I better hurry up then.
Anyway, Creepy OP continues on. We did this whole whirlwind romance thing. I was instantly infatuated with her. Besides being extremely attractive to me, she was so fun and a joy to be around. Yeah, because she's just become an adult. This is all really new and novel to her, you know? Like in the US, she can't even drink yet. Oh, man. OP continues. I loved her energy and enthusiasm for everything, even the most mundane things. Yeah, she's like, aren't those flowers pretty? And he's like, what an idiot. Yeah, sure, honey. Let's go home and bang it out again. I'm really having a picture painted for me here. OP says, I went over to her house several times and met her family. It was kind of a shithole, but but I felt welcome there most of the time. Yeah, until the point that they hear you refer to it as a shithole. They're like, hey, could you get the hell out of here? I'm not asking. Anyway, in a short amount of time, I wound up setting her up on my phone plan and renting an apartment with her. Wow, things are getting pretty serious, huh? I later got her a car.
Sugar fathers for sugar babies with daddy issues.
Yeah, happy sweet 16, darling. OP says, I got invested way too quickly. You, sir, are an idiot. You make bad decision after bad decision, and at the end of it all, he's probably going to be like, it was totally her fault. You see where it's going, don't you? I don't even want it to stop, to be honest. This time I find it rich and creamy. OP says I still had my own place, but it was an hour or so away. I found it easier to crash right there with her, as it was close to where we both worked. Then why are you still... what's the other place? You just on a lease? Are you stupid? Anyway, skipping ahead a few months, I caught her cheating on me in this apartment that I was renting for her. Oh my god, who would have ever seen that coming? Like, WTF, lol. How did I find out? There was rubbers in the bathroom garbage can that weren't mine, because I wasn't using any. Well, she made him use a rubber. That's respectful, isn't it? I confronted her. She denied it, and I dropped it for a while. You let that go? You're just like, okay, I'll continue paying the apartment. This is what fucking simpery has done to the modern male. Do you realize? This is all your own fault. You're choosing it every time, and then you're like, don't you feel bad for me, Reddit? No! You're an idiot! Wake up and smell the fucking garbage. And indeed, the dumpster fire continues. OP says a short time later, she's trying to let an old friend stay with her for a while. I tried to play it cool, but I knew. What are you even trying to play it cool for at this point? I wound up getting the guy alone on the balcony one night. We drank and talked. Anna came up. That's her name, by the way. And I made him aware of our relationship. He evidently had no idea and admitted that, yeah, they were doing it when I wasn't around. He had to know. But good on him for coming clean. They could have both probably gaslighted the hell out of OP, and he'd be like, maybe it is just an old friend. Maybe I should pay for them to live there for the next 20 years. I paid for my girlfriend's wedding to her old friend because she was at one point 19 and hot. She's a vapid individual. She's done nothing but wrong to you, but she's so pretty, though. You're stupid. You're a fucking idiot. Anyway, OP thanks dude for his honesty, and they traded numbers. He warned me off in saying that this was just sort of how she was. You can't tell. The chick that let you bang it out on the first date. If she's doing that with a 34-year-old schlub like you, this ain't her first time doing it, okay? Anyway, he was gone the next day, never to be seen again. Well, at least he had some standards, you know? At least purportedly. Never seen again is like, okay, OP didn't see him. But OP's kind of oblivious, isn't he? OP says, I didn't listen to that guy. I confronted her once again, and we had this whole knockdown, drag-out argument about it, and she eventually copped to it and promised to stop. Never again. I love you. Yada yada. Spoiler alert, it didn't end. It only got worse. Yep, seen it endless times before, honestly. Why even go back? Why have the argument? This is not going to be fixed. Save your energy. Focus on somebody who actually gives a shit about you. But ReddX, you don't understand, she's so hot. Yes, and inside she's a black hole. She's going to take every ounce of anything you got. Self-respect, money, willpower. She's a succubus, bro. At the end of the day, you're letting yourself get used. And I want you to notice on that statement how there's no victim blamers in the comment. Like, you're blaming him for his own... He's like, yeah, he's partially culpable. What do you want from me? If you swap the genders in this video, this shit would really go hard. Absolutely insane. Anyway, OP says that he was paranoid now. See all this wasted energy? I started secretly getting on her phone. Quit playing on my phone! It was way, way worse than I ever thought. She was on seeking arrangements, banging old dudes for money, basically. I sabotaged her in many of these relationships, and she still just wouldn't stop. And she didn't break up with me either. It was weird. Yeah, because you're sitting there eating a shit sandwich every day. You're paying her rent. What reason is there to break up? He puts up with it. She gets a little pocket money from all the random dongs from the internet. And still you don't have the self-respect to walk away. It's really weird to me, dude. I know you're one of those middle management types, but truly how bad do you hate yourself? At this point, I sort of lost it. I was already drinking a lot because she drank, and that was something we did together, but at this point, I started drinking more. Yeah, that'll fix it.
To alcohol, the cause of and solution to all of life's problems.
I wound up getting a DUI and just spiraling out over all of this BS. Lost my job, went to jail for 30 days, which seemed like forever. I thought when I got out, I'd finally be free of her. Nah, dude. You're the meal ticket, bro. She's not letting that one go. And in a way, I guess it is sort of convenient for you because you don't have to take any responsibility for the DUI. You're just like, she made me do it. She made me do it with her actions. No. At the end of the day, this was all your choice, all right? And 30 days in jail ain't shit. I did 6 months. That feels like forever. Now imagine doing like 20, 30 years. God damn. I'd take myself out before I get locked up again, for real. Anyway, as expected, there she was, leaning against my car at midnight 30 on the night that I got out. We hadn't spoken the entire time I was in, so I was completely floored to see her there. And we had this great big coming to Jesus chat, and our relationship began its renaissance. But a few weeks later, she was at it again. I'm so surprised. Truly, how many times can you have the wool pulled over your eyes? Do you have a picture of this girl? Because she's got to be like just radiantly hot in order for you to put up with all this bullshit, dude. Even when you got out of jail, that was your chance to be like, you didn't talk to me the entire 30 days I was in. Get the fuck out of here. But you didn't. You're like, oh, everything will be different this time. Third time's the charm, right? Third time just means you're twice an idiot. OP says, at this point, I'm just like, look, if this is what you're gonna do, let me be part of it. Ew. Oh, God.
No, what are you doing? What are you doing? No, what are you doing? What are you doing? Stop! No! Oh, God!
This is how he started a certain lifestyle. They get the bed and he gets the chair in the corner. She agreed, and we started meeting random guys to do her. This is so weird. What? I want to get off the ride. We often used Tinder, but later graduated to seeking arrangements. I knew she was still using that on the side anyway. Sometimes she got money out of this, and when she did, she shared it with me. Hey, well, there's something. I pimped out my own girlfriend. At least we're making a few bucks out of the deal. What was the cost? Only my dignity. OP says, I was starting to get into it. I was starting to like it. Sharing what I had and having her afterwards. Ugh. I don't know. It was kind of hot. Dude, we're not going to make it, are we? I mean, humans. The internet has ruined us irrevocably. I'm sure these things went on in the 60s, the 70s, but now it's all just so public. You have to share your thoughts on it. You only liked it because you didn't really have a choice in the matter. It's either that or break up with her, and I could never break up with her. She's just so hot. So instead, I'll just let other bunch of dudes bang her, and we can pretend that we're in on it together. It's so weird, man. You've made your own bed. Now lie down in it and burn. OP said, maybe I just had Stockholm Syndrome. Lol. Yeah, which again, you chose. You could have walked away. And yeah, again, where are the comments accusing me of victim blaming? I am blaming him. He's clearly party to this now more than ever, right? Opie said not long after this is when I found out that she was smoking crystal. Oh, good. That'll add another complex layer to the will they won't they. Opie says this is about a year into our relationship. I don't think she was doing it the whole time that she was seeing me. I think an old girlfriend of hers reintroduced her to it. Yeah, that girlfriend was just a dude with a lady's name. I'm gonna hang out with the Robin, and you're like, oh, that's probably a girl. Might be a guy, though. And OP's just too beaten down to even try to fight back at all. Just a wormy little human being that thought he was getting the short end of the stick. He's like, hey, this is great. Like, yeah, she really took it for a ride, huh? Anyway, girlfriend then induced OP to Crystal, and he says, I didn't like it at first. It didn't seem to do much for me. I've been like an opiate guy in the past, but this was different. It eventually grew on me, and that's when the real craziness began. We really just refused to make any, like, even one intelligent choice in the whole fucking story. I'm amazed. I'm mystified. There's a paragraph here. It involves OP living in a hotel and having monetary exchanges with strangers with his girlfriend. But it gets a little bit too explicit for YouTube. I'm not going to chance it on members either, so you can look the post up if you want to read it. But yeah, suffice to say, it makes OP look like even more of a complete beta. After several months of doing that sort of thing, funds inevitably began to dry out, because I didn't have a job anymore, remember? Yeah, who needs one of those? Oh, except if you want to buy things. At some point, she ran off with one of her dates. I was devastated, but I used this time to start putting myself back together. I got a new chef job at a hospital, and things were starting to become better for me. What do you want to bet she appears one last time? I'm taking bets for real. In comments, in live chat, let me know what you think before the video continues. Okay, we're continuing. A few months later, here she comes right back. We all knew. Me, unable to resist, fell right back into her. What is wrong with you? You both have like some severe issues with self-sabotaging, you know that? You need to speak to a therapist desperately. I don't care if you go together or separate, but both of you, therapy. Please. We went back to banging in hotels all night. And it was at this point that I really started to get into the whole filming aspect and took a lot of videos of her and the other dudes. And it was all just like this fun game that we couldn't stop playing. Yes. This game in particular is called Ruin My Life and Careers Prospects. Then one day, again, she disappeared without saying a word and she moved to another state. I later found out that she ran off with her dealer. I tracked her down, and we had a few more fun nights, but he eventually found out, and at that point, I was done. Wait, stick a gun in your face, or what? I was not going to keep driving 6 hours to bang her in a hotel room while she was seeing and lying to someone else. But hey, now you get to be the other guy, right? Is the grass greener now? Oh, it's all dead and barren. It has been for a long time. Okay, well, probably we should have seen that earlier. Finally, reality begins to dawn. At this point, I felt like the relationship had run its course. I was finally done. And then, little by little, I slowly started to face the ice out of my life. Not just the Ice Queen, but the Crystal too, right? Good boy. Back on the straight and narrow now. Try to forget about the horrible, horrible things we've seen. I didn't have the same connections as she did, so I had a harder time getting a hold of it anyway. I had a little more fun with a couple of rebound girls, and then eventually I quit. For good. Then I picked up all the pieces and started putting my life back together. Yes, quite a derailment. Quite a little detour that you took there. What was the reason that you made that choice again? She was so hot, dude, bro. You don't understand. She ruined your entire life. You definitely participated in it, but she was the catalyst. Anyway, I found out a year or so later that her and her new boyfriend got arrested for trafficking. I have their mugshots. That was satisfying AF, not gonna lie, lol. The end. TLDR, I blew up my whole life to get milk-sopped by some toxic teenage hottie who worked for me. As bad as it was, I still can't stop thinking about what an exciting time that was. I still watch the videos we made. Sometimes. Nothing else has ever seemed half as interesting. I fear that I'm ruined. Yes, and that's because you have this weird relationship with self-sabotage. That's why I was advocating you to get into therapy earlier, if you'll recall. I think one of the parts that tickled me the most when he's like, oh my god, she's out here banging old dudes for money. And it's like, yeah, including you. You're almost twice her age. You're an old dude. You're renting her apartment. You were never anything to her except like the most gullible mark there ever was. I'm glad eventually you could wake up and smell the roses, but like even the driving 6 hours to be with her and stuff, like I'm mystified. I don't understand why you would do this to yourself. There were so many unignorable red flags and still we just press on forward. But I guess when you're wearing rose-colored glasses, red flags just look like flags. It might be green. It might be telling me to go ahead and drive 6 hours and chase her down and fight with her dealer. My God, man. The weirdest part is that I don't hear like any true resentment in the post, which is, yeah, strange to say the least. He found his meth head manic pixie dream girl. And he's just like, yeah, that's the point that I want to live at for the rest of my life. Remember when I was 34 and got to stick it in a stupid teenager? Yeah, whoopee-doo. But I guess for some people, things like that truly, truly matter. And that's how I know you're a very shallow and vapid individual. Anyway, episode time, maybe a little bit short. Maybe we get into something else. This one from r/true off my chest. And it features a bit of light stalking. That's how it ties into the first story. Not a 6-hour drive. Although I'm sure this girl in particular wishes she could get much further away than that. Anyway, let's see what the story's all about right now. I wrote my ex letters for years. Fate reunited us, and now I'm blocked again. Wow, that's so weird. How did that happen with the blocking and all? Must have been a glitch or something. Not that she just doesn't want to interface with you anymore. Anyway, 3 years ago, I met my ex on Omegle. Yeah, that's where all great relationships start, isn't it? We bonded over long conversations, despite disagreeing on music. We quickly made a strong bond and started dating, even though we both cringed at the idea of an online relationship. Different strokes for different folks, I guess. I tend to agree. At least you're self-aware about it. Anyway, early on I learned that she had a traumatic past, but I was too immature and overconfident to realize how emotionally draining her struggles would be. Eventually the relationship took its toll on me, and though I loved her, I made the decision to break up with her. A choice she fought against, but I stood firm. To this day, I regret it. Well, at least you're smart enough to regret it, I guess. After our breakup, I was involved with other girls and managed to forget her for a while. But by the end of the year, I realized that none of them compared to her. Yeah, real manic pixie dream girl vibes. Again. Limerence, that's what they call it. You're infatuated. She's not different. It's chemicals in your brain that tell you otherwise. Anyway, she had everything I wanted, from her looks to her personality, but I hadn't appreciated it while we were together. That's right, this time I'll do different. This time your traumatic past won't be emotionally draining for me. Why? What's changed? Nothing? Okay. Opie says, this all led me to start sending her letters through her P.O. box, which I had from when I had once sent her a game that I wanted her to play. In my first letter, I expressed how much I missed her and mentioned dating other girls after our breakup to forget her, but it didn't work. Yeah, you generally don't want to mention the other girls. It's not a great game plan. She replied with a cold, egocentric tone, which was understandable, given how badly we ended things. Yeah, surely she's the only egocentric one here, OP. Notice you've only talked about her so far in terms of her utility, what she can do for you, how it's inconvenient to you that you're in this relationship, and yet you want her back for some reason?
Are you fucking dumb?
Are you stupid or something? I guess the actual question is, how stupid are you? Despite her response, the fact that she replied at all kept me writing more letters. 3 months later, I sent another letter, again admitting I missed her and feeling ashamed for reaching out. She replied in the same distant tone, this time pointing out the mistakes in our relationship and also how short it was. Yeah, it's just an online relationship. Fucking get over it, dude. When she didn't respond to my third letter, I became obsessed, sending more and more letters in the hopes that she would reply, but she never did. Despite my efforts, I never got another reply. And you would hope that would wrap the entire post, wouldn't you? Just, oh, he learned his lesson, he moved on his way. Except he definitely didn't. I will change locations here for privacy reasons. My parents and I were going on a field trip to Texas. My ex lived all the way in California, so she was hundreds of miles apart from where I was at, adding also the specific city that I was in. Yeah, that's how distances tend to work, isn't it? I decided to go to one of the shopping malls from the city. I was coming out of a store when I saw a girl that looked exactly like my ex walk from the other side of the mall floor. I was so astonished by the similarities that I followed her direction just to make sure that it wasn't her. Yeah, fucking right, dude. You were hoping that it was. I just need to confirm that it's not. Nobody's buying that. As I was getting closer, I slowly started to realize that it was actually her. Okay, now that you've confirmed it, one way or the other, it's time to turn around and go home, isn't it? He's not going to, is he? I was panicking very badly. My heart was beating very fast, but I was thinking to myself, even if it isn't her, you gotta go talk to her. Do you? Since I wasn't 100% sure, I started mentally preparing myself to do a simple cold approach before assuming anything. Since she was with her parents, I had to wait for her to go to one of the stores by herself so that I could talk to her. Yeah, and she probably clocked you while you were skulking around. When she went into a store by herself, I went in, approached, and asked for her name. She then said, "Wait, are you OP?" And I replied, "Yes! No way, it's you!" I asked why she was there. She was visiting for a softball tournament. She told me that she already knew that I was in Texas because of her friends, who I became friends with when we were together, and it showed our Snap locations being in the same city. We had such a good conversation, although it was cut short because of her needing to return to her parents. Or maybe because she was a little freaked out, right? I told her how relieved I was to see her, and she told me that she was very happy and surprised to see me. After that, she unblocked me on Instagram. I told her I was going to text her, and she replied very well to the text, and we began to have a conversation. Hey, sweet. Now, what'd you do to make it weird?
Tell them to send a dick pic. Girls love that. Especially when it comes out of nowhere with like zero context.
This was like a dream come true for me. I even felt that was like a higher calling for us to end up together. Oh, delusions of grandeur, huh? I was the happiest I'd ever been. It didn't even feel real. This is where I'm confused. After one of her replies, I asked if she wanted to try a fresh start with me. I waited days for her to respond. I knew from the first day she ignored that message that she wasn't going to reply, since she's the type to reply quickly or never reply. Yeah, I'm sort of that same archetype. A couple weeks go by, still without saying anything. I check her profile and poof! I'm fucking blocked again. Yeah, she wanted to maintain the friendship. She's not looking to do relationship with you. You already pulled your whole ass out. What do you expect? Opie says, I don't know what to do anymore. At this point, I've written her one last letter asking, why? If I don't get a reply, I'll leave it as is, but this situation has literally ruined most of my life. Wow, literally? That's crazy, bro. I need advice. I've heard my English sounds a bit too formal at times. I'm not a native speaker, and I'm still learning English from college, so my apologies for any bad phrasing. I'm going to put this in the flattest terms that I can and say that you are a certified mental case, sir. You broke her heart walking away, and then she put the wall up, blocked you, told you to stop, and despite all of that, you see her at a mall randomly, and you're like, oh, the universe must be trying to put us together. I don't know what the purpose for all that was, but I can tell you, you're not the romantic hero in this story, okay? You're the crazy stalker ex that won't leave this woman alone. Even after the second time blocking you because you brought up some shit she didn't want to talk about, you're still like, how can I twist it around? How can I continue coming after her? Maybe you don't. Maybe you're certified fucking psycho and you need to go to therapy as soon as possible. This is not love, not even a semblance of love. This is simply obsession. She met a boy online and they had their little fling and broke up because you couldn't handle her baggage. So she moved on, assumed you did too, and then her P.O. box starts filling up with letters from some psychopath. She ends up in a different state and still there you are. You gotta see it from her perspective at some point. I hope she gets a restraining order because I'm pretty sure that's the next step if you don't, turn it down a notch or 10. This whole thing is never going to happen, and that is because of your actions. You have regret about breaking up in the first place? Good. Lots of people do. You know what we do? We get the fuck over it. Just a couple of stories from knuckleheads today. Complete knuckleheads. Maybe that's well titled the video. But regardless of any of that, I do hope you enjoyed this segment. You can support on the YouTube memberships or the Patreon patrons if you'd like. Consistent money every month. Really helps us out a lot. We've also got my fourth wall if you'd like to go check that out. Support us that way. Represent out in the streets. Bean Boys Gang was here. I need to make that t-shirt, come to think of it. Anyway, if you don't want to do any of that, that's fine. Maybe share the video around, though. That's really, really helpful. Regardless of what you decide to do with the rest of your day, though, I'd like to remind you, friends, that you're loved, you're worthy, you definitely, definitely deserve it, and I shall see you in the next one. So until then, bye-bye.